Stop worshiping celebrities so much. Just don't listen, pay attention. I remember right around September 11th, Ja Rule was on MTV. That's what they said. We got Ja Rule on the phone. Let's see what Ja's thoughts are on this tragedy. Who gives a fuck what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this, nigga? This is ridiculous.
Hello everyone, I just want to start by saying thank you for the well wishes for me and my family. It means a lot. I miss my grandmother and I know she's in a better place now and I'm ready to move on and do work and talk and stuff. So I did this video about Sabrina Carpenter recently on this channel and I got a bunch of comments about how talking about pop stars and their politics is stupid, it's useless, whatever. Why should you expect your pop stars to give political opinions or expect them to be leftist? Artists aren't activists. Artists are not politicians. Keep grievances and political activism in its proper sphere and stop making poison every fucking thing in life. Okay, first of all, I want to say I get it. It's sometimes frustrating to go on social media and see how much is centered on talking about celebrities and their politics. I think that sometimes people can put their energy too much in that basket or not be extremely reasonable with what they're demanding from celebrities. I understand that it's a case-by-case basis, to be honest. But mostly, let's be real. We all know that it's good that people call public figures out for having bad opinions and bad political stances. Aside from the big platforms, the resources many of them have, etc., this is just totally normal. Okay, people argue with each other, people critique things, it's part of being human in society, and I just think it's so funny when people start acting like a bunch of babies about this. I have in mind the Thom Yorke incident of a few weeks ago, which was the conclusion to an ongoing saga about Thom Yorke's politics, particularly when it comes to Palestine. Anthony Fantano, you probably know who he is, made a video excoriating, angrily talking about Thom Yorke's opinion, which he expressed about Palestine in a long post, I think on Instagram, and the comment section was a shit show. The comment section was full of people who were beyond belief that Anthony Fantano would critique a music star for their politics. I will never understand this culture of aggressively pressuring artists into making political statements, and not just any statements, correct statements, because God forbid they have different views on the world that you do. Thom Yorke sings and plays guitar for a living. He may sing about wars and suffering, or he may sing about every other thing under the sun. He may talk politics. He may have no desire to do so. He does not owe you anything. He cannot change anything, and his words do not affect anything except for the angry activists on the internet. So I want to make a couple of observations. First of all, which is it? Okay, is it that we shouldn't look for artists to have opinions on things, or is it that Thom Yorke's opinion was correct? Which is it? This is the thing that you'll notice also with that previous comment I made. You expect your pop stars to give political opinions or expect them to be leftist. Which is it? Is it me expecting them to have certain opinions, or is it the fact that I expect them to have opinions at all? Because obviously everybody has political opinions. Obviously every celebrity makes political statements of varying degrees, does humanitarian work, etc., etc. These folks never really pick one or the other, and I think that's the topic of this video. You don't want to hear his opinion, you just want to hear your own opinion mirrored back at you. So this is just called arguing. This person is participating in it right now, apparently unwittingly. He has no idea that sometimes someone has an opinion and another person responds to that opinion, often, with a lot of a feeling and a lot of emotion. The silliest way that people respond to this, though, is through absurd comparisons. Any critique of a celebrity's political stance or lack thereof gets completely reduced to the most absurd hypothetical. You don't like Thom Yorke and his working with the state of Israel by doing shows in Israel and his public statement about Palestine. Well, that's just like asking about Lil Xan's opinion. Remember Lil Xan, the SoundCloud rapper? 6ix9ine has been eerily silent on this too. This is ridiculous, okay? You people cannot be serious. Let's put aside the fact that Thom Yorke has made tons of political statements in his art and outside of it for decades, and Lil Xan has not. This is just a distraction tactic. If Lil Xan made a statement about Palestine, to be honest, I'd be kind of interested. I'd want to know what he has to say, and I'd give you my opinion on whether or not I agree with him. I'm so sorry that this idea upsets you. It's very silly, though, to not only compare one celebrity's political situation to a completely different, completely unrelated one, but to just assume that by doing this, you have rendered all celebrity political critiques absurd. And this is where the Ja Rule meme comes in. You know it, you love it. Or maybe you don't. Someone commented, yeah, but why is Ja Rule being so quiet about this? So if you don't know this reference, it's based on an old joke that Dave Chappelle did about politics, celebrity politics, 9/11 specifically, about how news stations were bringing on so many people to talk about the tragedy of 9/11, and that included then popular rapper Ja Rule. And his joke is basically, isn't it absurd that in a time like this, we're looking for Ja Rule's opinion about politics, about 9/11?
I think when bad shit happens to me, I'll be in the crib like, oh my God, this is terrible. Could somebody please find Ja Rule, get hold of this motherfucker so I can make sense of all this. Where is Ja?
People use this joke over and over again to dismiss political critiques of celebrities. The problem is that it's funny as a joke, but I don't think it's funny because of the point that Chappelle's trying to make, which is an overall point about how we worship celebrities, how we shouldn't care about celebrity politics. It's funny because it's just funny to think about somebody running around and being like, where's Ja Rule? I need to know Ja Rule's opinion. Ja Rule is a very random person to be looking to for opinions, especially because he doesn't express political opinions in his art or outside of it. And he was a very silly figure at that time in terms of being made fun of a lot. And he still is today, to the people that know who he is at this point. That said, I'm not here to do comedic critique. You can like the joke for many different reasons. I just think that if Chappelle was making the joke about his actual point, which is like, who cares what the Dixie Chicks have to say about wanting peace and standing against George Bush?
Why you care so much what the Dixie Chicks say? It's not like they political scientists and nothing. They just bitches that can sing good. You know what I mean?
It wouldn't land as well. Right? Now, the funniest part though, if you didn't like my take just now, here's what I think the funniest part is, okay? Are you ready? The funniest part of this joke is that it's completely hypocritical. This same celebrity, Dave Chappelle, went on to make substantial political commentary about Black Lives Matter with the Netflix special 846. And then later on, as you may remember, he made a ton of commentary about trans people. Now, the same joke could be made about Dave Chappelle. You could say also, who cares what Dave Chappelle thinks about trans people? Or who cares about Dave Chappelle's opinion on systemic racism? Dave Chappelle seems to care or seems to think it's important that he would share that opinion. So it kind of goes against his whole point about looking to celebrities for their opinions. So I'd like to ask you what you think the difference is. What's the difference? Why do people maybe praise Dave Chappelle for this joke and also praise him for behaving in ways that are completely antithetical to his joke? I'll leave that to you, but here's my point. Thom Yorke suddenly became a martyr for people who also think what is widely agreed to be a genocide, among all scholars of genocide, is a complex issue for people who don't like it when celebrities are pressured to make political statements. But the reality is that people are fucking hypocrites about this. They are not mad that celebrities are criticized for their politics. They are mad that celebrities they like are criticized for having politics they agree with. And they're just too cowardly to admit that. So instead they hide behind the idea that it's absurd to critique them in the first place, which, by the way, does not speak to the validity of your argument very well. If you're so afraid to actually argue it that you instead have to say, well, isn't it just absurd that you're making somebody say this? Isn't it absurd that you should ask for my opinion or for this celebrity's opinion on this? And also, they're right. You know, which is it? I finally want to get to the witch hunt angle of this. Thom Yorke's statement about Palestine includes this passage about how there is a toxic culture of pressuring celebrities. Social media witch hunts, nothing new on either side, pressuring artists and whoever they feel like that week to make statements, etc., do very little except heighten tension, fear, and oversimplification of what are complex problems that merit proper face-to-face debate by people who genuinely wish the killing to stop and an understanding to be found. I do think sometimes, like I said earlier, that people are not very measured sometimes about what celebrities they target and pressure and how, and about what issues they expect these celebrities to do something about. But Thom Yorke is not one of these cases. Radiohead have done tons of shows in Israel despite it being an apartheid state. Okay, have you watched The Settlers? Have you watched content about how Israeli people view Palestinians and Arabs in general? Thom Yorke is criticized for his stance on Palestine because there is a wide political movement to boycott Israeli tourism and products in order to economically affect them in response to their occupation of Palestine and genocide of Palestinians. And Thom Yorke never supported that movement. He has portrayed himself as someone who cares about injustice. And maybe he does, who knows? I'm not saying he wasn't being sincere, but he refused to take part in a huge mass movement against an injustice. And when he finally made a statement, a great deal of it was spent defending himself. I can't believe people would think I'm complicit in injustice because I keep supporting the perpetrators of it by doing shows in their country and refuse to say anything about it. Moreover, instead of pledging to do something about this loss of life that he says he's so upset about, he talks about this genocide, this displacement of hundreds of thousands of people, as if it is too complex to handle, too complex to tackle, and we all just need to get together and think really hard about this some more. Thom Yorke is a perfect target of criticism. Celebrities have power. They use that power often to support bad things. If you and me as working people can decide not to work for certain companies like Halliburton or whatever because they're bad, or not to take money from terrible companies or support bad actors, even though we are barely paying the bills, then someone like Thom Yorke, praised for years for his morals and his intellect, can stop taking Israeli money and do some humanitarian aid for men, women, and children being bombed and starved. Anyway, the next time you hear people say things like stop caring about celebrity politics and stop pressuring celebrities to talk about politics and where's Ja, have some discernment. Ask yourself, do these people actually just agree with the celebrity? And more often than not, the answer is yes. Thanks for watching. Support my Patreon.